At Sierra, discover great deals on top brand workout gear, like high-quality walking shoes, which might lead to another discovery.
40,000 steps, baby. Who's on top now, Karen?
You've taken the office step challenge a step too far. Don't worry, though. Sierra also has yoga gear. It might be a good place to find your zen. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
For those who know that questioning everything includes questioning this show's existence. The Last Show with David Cooper.
Big companies spend billions on wellness perks, but what really motivates their frontline workers isn't a gym membership. It isn't a flu shot. It's mostly just the free food and maybe social connection. Yes, of all the corporate perks, new research suggests why snacks may be the ultimate workplace boost. I'm here with someone who worked on that research. He is a marketing professor at Florida State University College of Business. His name is Dr. Riley Krotz. Riley, welcome to the program.
Welcome, David. I'm really happy to be here.
I feel like pre-pandemic especially, some of these wellness perks that we heard about at these fancy companies, these Fortune 500 companies, got more and more bizarre, I guess is what I'm trying to say. What are some of the more fancy wellness perks that you looked into in your research?
It's actually funny you mentioned COVID. We started this project pre-COVID. And so we navigated this research through the whole COVID pandemic. And so we got really great data on what these companies are offering their employees. But I think some of the craziest benefits, of course, like hot meals, catered meals so they could take home for the holidays. And then there were some really extravagant like workplace vacations where some of these companies would actually send their entire frontline team to vacations as a team building or a social exercise. It was really fascinating how much variety there was. I think in altogether, there were 29 different wellness benefits offerings that companies gave.
I remember I used to work in big tech before I transitioned to media, a career transition that my mother describes as me hating money, but that's besides the point. I remember bringing my girlfriend, who actually now works in tech herself, but at the time she was hostessing at a restaurant. I brought her to the office and she looked at the snack cubby and she was like, oh my God. It was every snack you can imagine. And to be honest, there was a lot of this other stuff, work travel, all this other stuff, but I would say I missed the most the snacks, and I thought I was just being silly, but it turns out that's what people are there for, the food and the snacks when it comes to perks.
We actually found in the research is that there's a usage component to these wellness benefits. And so the two most commonly used benefits are social benefits like after work drinks or, the holiday party where you get really crappy pizza brought in or free food. And so we looked at that crappy pizza itself and other types of food, and we found that those food items are actually being consumed along with the social benefits. And it's that component of usage that really makes the employees feel valued, ultimately, leading to all these cool effects that we find in the research.
Were you surprised that food and these kind of social perks around the food were what motivated people, not like the, hey, we'll pay for your, healthcare thing. We'll pay for you to have a massage. We'll do this. Were you surprised at that?
I'm going to say no, which might not actually be the right answer. But it's because I started this research when I was a very poor PhD student. And anytime I would go into a meeting and there would be free food, I would clamor for it, but actually hide some in my bag and take it home. And so for me, that's something that really made me feel valued because it's something that I practically needed and I was going to use it. It was food. I wouldn't have to go out and buy a meal that day. I could spend it on something more fun or, a bill or my mortgage or something.
I guess food is expensive. I used to call it regrettable work pizza. Like I would always eat it, but then I'd get home and I'd feel gross and I'd always eat one too many slices and it would never be amazing pizza. It would just be run of the mill, like kind of not that hot even. The cheese is kind of drying up.
But it gets the job done.
It does. So what were some of these perks that people didn't value as much as food? Like what were some of the ones that were the average person might be surprised to hear about?
So we looked at 5 different benefits. We looked at food and social, which consistently had the most positive effects. Then we had mindfulness benefits, which are things like meditation or yoga rooms or book circles. Those kind of had middling effects.
No, thank you.
And yeah, no, I know. And so I don't want to be mindful at work personally. But then the 2 that we found that had either insignificant effects or negative effects were actually physical benefits. So giving your employees things like a gym membership or things that could physically improve their body, we found that it could actually decrease the quality of the customer service interaction and then downstream actually decrease firm sales, which is a really cool finding.
Wild. So a company in earnest gives out a gym benefit, they spend money on it, and it has negative effects on the company?
Yeah, what we found in an earlier version of the paper is that employees aren't dumb, especially frontline workers. They have a lot of social perceptiveness because they work with people all the time, the customers. And so they were a little bit intuitive and they were suspicious of these free gym memberships and gym cards that the company was getting them. And what we found is that the employees realized that companies were doing that not because they cared about them as people, but because they wanted to improve their body so they would be better at their job and call out less, ultimately making the company more money. So it actually took away a lot of the value of the benefit because they were giving the employees something, the companies, that would ultimately selfishly help them. So that's why we actually found this reactive behavior going on.
That's interesting. And wellness programs, they make up what, almost $100 billion of business, $100 billion of industry in the US?
Yeah, it's billions and billions. Yeah, I think 90% of all companies offer at least one wellness benefit. And what was really surprising is that 60% of companies, and our sample was US focused, actually gives employees money to spend on their own wellness benefits. So it's a huge, huge industry.
I used to expense my nicotine gum to my employer because they had like $100 like open benefit. It just had to be somehow health related.
Yeah.
And as soon as I quit smoking, I started chewing nicotine gum. I'm not proud of this. I'm not recommending it, kids, but I chewed it for like 7 years. So they just paid for my gum. Based on the huge size of this industry and your research, do you think some companies are spending this money like in the wrong places?
I would say no, unless it's, let's say, things like physical benefits, even health benefits, especially in a U.S. sample, is really used. But we control for things like the price that is spent on wellness benefits. And we actually had one study where we had grocery stores that could actually get food for basically zero cost for themselves. And we still found significant benefits for the employees and the customers. So it's not actually about the money that's being spent on the benefits. It's about the investment in the frontline workforce that makes the employees feel valued, and they ultimately repay that feeling of value by treating the customers better. And the cool thing is, because the customers have a better experience, they spend more money in the stores. So it's this win-win-win where the organization makes more money, the employees feel better, and the customer experience is better. And from a marketing perspective, this triple win is very rare, and that's why we were so excited about this project.
We're talking a lot about big corporations, but to that end, what you're saying in simple terms, how would you advise a small business with limited resources to have benefits for their employees? What would you recommend? Like, I've got maybe my 5th employee. I'm just curious about giving them benefits. What would I do?
I would say give them free food. So we, in this research, spoke to thousands and thousands of individual frontline workers. And so it's not about the scale of the company. You know, even if you had a single employee, or you were a mom and pop and you want to bring your wife, some food, it'll make her feel better and she'll treat the customers better. Or she can bring, her husband something. So it's not about the size of the company. It's actionable, and even small businesses can use this and have a very dramatic return on investment.
And zooming into large companies, they're hugely successful, like, I don't know, Google or Amazon or something. Having a catered chef meal for your employees and a barista for your employees that you already spend so much money on, that's actually probably a good investment compared to other things.
It is. We actually looked at the size of the meal, how much it costs, hot versus cold food, healthy versus unhealthy. And we just consistently, especially for food, found that it was one of the most impactful wellness benefits. So it's simple.
And it's that social connection around it as well that really benefits?
Yes, we actually find that the benefits of free food specifically are enhanced in positive work environments. And so regardless of the work environment, it's good. But if you have a positive, caring, supportive work environment, the positive effects are even stronger.
All right, well, let's do lunch sometime. Employer paid. Riley, I've appreciated the chat. Thanks so much for coming on the show. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Dr. Riley Krotz is a marketing professor at Florida State University College of Business.
Hey girl, this is a matching set emergency. Ugh, my favorite Lululemon leggings and Define jacket. You know, the set you got me years ago? The one you've seen me wear at every yoga class? Well, I just got back from a weekend trip and had left my gym bag at the B&B. Girl, I need to replace this outfit. Could you send me the link to where you got it? I need it ASAP. I don't know what I'll do without it. Thanks, girl.
Looking for your newest go-tos? Shop Lululemon's best sellers now at lululemon.com.